Hello, dear students. Today I have come back with one more new chapter with lots of interesting informations which are basic of our everyone's living life. Without this thing, the thing which we are going to study, the life is not exist on the earth. Because whichever the microorganisms, animals, human beings are surviving on the earth, those are only made up of these things. What they are, why it is called as, who has discovered. Okay, with some examples, what was their theory, how many scientists were involved in this discovery, how many of they required to form one organisms, what are their specific examples, what are their classification. Those things we are going to be studying in this chapter. This chapter is very interesting. If you listen it very carefully, then you will clear all the doubts. Because this is the basic thing of the life. Along with that, this is the base wherefrom you are going to be learn the more things in your higher classes. So it's better that you just perfect your base, so later you will not get any confusions and any doubts to understand about these cells. So we are talking about the cell. Hope you have heard the cells means are in many forms. There are lots of meanings of the cells. Is it? Word is the same, but meaning are different. Is it? So the cell means battery. There are some spellings also changes like a selling. Is it? Or now the cell means what? In case of organisms or in case of living beings. Okay, what is it meaning? Why it vary from other cells? Is it? And why again it has named as a cell? There is also one logic. Is it? So we will see what is mean by the cell. So the chapter name is cell, structural and function. So we are going to see about the different types of the cells, how they used to be function and what are their structures. Okay. So we will move towards our main topic, cell. So see, cell means what? Cell is a basic structural and functional unit of life. So cell is basic structural and functional unit of life. This we normally says. Is it? The cell means this is the one cell, guys. Of our body has made up of these things. Means not only our body, along with the different things which are surviving on the earth or in the nature. That may be plants, small microorganisms, okay, animals. The animals can be any type of, that may be a terrestrial, reptiles, aquatic, okay. So those can included here. So their body and our body are made up of the number of cells. That's why it is called as a structural and functional unit of life. Why it is known as a structural and functional? Because our body has got a structure because of the number of cells are present in our whole body parts. Is it? Now, why it is called as a functional? Each and every cell in our body are vary in their numbers, along with that in their shapes and size. That's why there are number of different types of the cells are present in our body, and each of they if different, it means that each of they having a different functions and different work to carry out our daily life processes. So what is the life processes? Under the life process, which of the processes carries out, those you have studied in your last class. Is it? That's why The cells are very important one, and they act as a structural and functional unit, means each of they having a different structure, different size, different shape. Along with that, they used to do a different kinds of work or the function. For example, for inhaling the air, means for taking up oxygen, is it lungs having different types of the cells. Again, through the lungs, the pipes goes downside of the alimentary canal. The alimentary canal is constituted of number of organelles or the organ systems. Those are also made up of different types of the cells. That's why each of they having a different work. That's why the cell is structural and functional unit of life. So now cells also called as building blocks of the all living organisms. So why it is called as a building blocks? See, just I have told you, our body or any of the living organisms body is made up of a number of cells. Is it? Consider now, for example, one building is going to be built. Is it? They used to tell that we want one separate room for storing, separate room for kitchen, separate room for study. Is it dictionaries, or a separate room for playing? Is it for the kids? All these are nothing but apartments. They are going to be classified in the some blocks. Is it? Collecting all blocks that will call as a one building. Is it? So the blocks are nothing but the different or the separate rooms. Likewise, our body is also consisting of number of blocks, that is the cell. So that's why the cell is a building block of all living organism. Building block of all living means our whole body parts are made up of a single type of number of cells. Now, you can also take one example. If you have to be built a one house, okay, you will need bricks. Is it? How they are in shapes? They are in cube like shapes. Getting? Cube like shapes means, you know that a honeycomb structure, just I was shown in the image. So honeycomb like structure that appears like in a cube like structure. That's why to build one home, or that may be a living organism body, it requires a cell. That's why the cell is building block of our living organisms and structural and functional unit of life. Now, one more question arises here. Is it possible by a single cell to perform a body functions? By a single cell, is it possible to work our body? No. Our answer is yes. Both answers are there. Why? See, the microorganisms are made up of single cell. Even if they having a single cell, then also they used to carry out the works togetherly. Means that may be uptaking of the food, along with that excreting the food materials, which are the waste one. Why now I am telling like this? Because the human body and the other living organisms having a body structures well developed, having different organ system. Is it? For the breathing and for taking the oxygen, lungs, heart. Is it? Pumping out of the blood, kidney for excreting the blood, excreting the waste materials. Is it? So many of the systems are present in our body. But in the living organisms which are micro in size, are they having these things? No. That's why the one of the only way is that the cell. We will see the examples, you will understand how they do. So with the help of that only, they used to excrete or take up the food materials only by the cell, only by the single cell. So that's why it is possible to live on a single cell, and it's not possible for us because our body needs a number of cells to build a one human body. Now, the next interesting thing is that discovery of cell. See, if you are learning about the science or any subjects, it's really having a behind a history, is it? So the some scientists, they were involved in the discovering these cells, how actually it look like, where from it has discovered, is it? Initially, one scientist was there, his name was Robert Hooke. Okay, so Robert Hooke in 1665 discovered the cell, got it? And he has discovered his own self designed microscope. So his intention was telling us that how actually the cell looks, is it? He's not invented any of the other uh, things which present inside the cells. Okay, he has only focused on discovering how actually the cell appears from outside. Okay, so what he did, he used one cork of bottle. So you can see the bottle is there, the upper one that is made up of the wooden mouth or the cap, that is called as a cork. Okay, so according to him, the cork is made up of plants. We know that the plant wood is a part of bark or the plant or the tree, is it? That is also one living organism, is it? Those are also consisting of number of cells. So that's why initially he were observed under his own self made microscope by using this cork. So he saw that the cork is consisting of number of blocks on them. Okay, so what he did, he used to take up the small piece of that cork. After that, he visualized under the microscope and he saw that number of cube-like structures were there. Number of cube-like structures means just as I was shown you in the honeycomb, is it? It is consisting of number of blockages in a pygonal shape, is it? So this shape, cube-like shapes are actually found in that cork image which were visualized under microscope. That's why he called that cell is look like number of cubes shape. So according to him, the our cells are look like honeycomb structure. So in this Latin word, cell means small rooms. Just I have told you the blocks, is it? So that's why he were said that that space which are present in the form of blocks, is it? Those are known as the cells. So Robert Hooke were discovered the name cell and he has proved by observing the cork of a bottle. Next, so who are the next scientists? Those were discovered the different things which are present inside the cells. Now the one more scientist was there, Robert Brown. So Robert Brown, what he did, Robert Brown in 1883 he discovered the nucleus word. So what is mean by the nucleus? Okay, and what are the different organelles? Those we will see in a further parts. But first of all, you just keep in mind the word or the sentence that Robert Brown, who was in 1883 discovered the word nucleus. So now nucleus is one of the central or the most important part of the cell. Why? Because for example, like our brain is the major or very essential part of our body, is it? Whatever the things we do, we speak, we used to be take a decision, all this only by the brain. That's like a nucleus is also one of the major central part of the cell which is present at the center of the cell. That's why it's a one important thing, those we will see in the further sessions. So Schild and Schwann, these both were the scientists. What they did, they discovered or they proposed the one theory that is called as a cell theory in 1839. So these both were told about the actual what is the theory of cell, is it? With the after the discovering, obviously some explanation should be there, is it? why we should call it as a cell? Is it why we how can we tell that definitely is a nucleus consisting or something else consisting? That's why, to prove that the theory was there discovered by these both scientists. Next, Virtue, he was the next scientist. What he did in 1855, the cell arises from pre-existing cells. What was his coin? He put forth that by saying a cell is always made up of from its pre-existing ones. Pre-existing means something or somewhere the cell was present in existing. Okay, there was some existence of the cells. From that only the cells will be discovered now. For example, we says that we are the ancestors, or of our ancestors are the small microorganisms. Is it? The Homo sapiens sapien and the our so many microorganisms. Okay, cyanobacteria, like those are the some pre-existing ones of ours. From there only we have existed. That's why according to him, he says that all cells or each and every cells arises from pre-existing cells. Now, this was about the some scientists were discoveries. Now the main portion is that cell theory. So according to the Schild and Schwann, what their theory tells. See, cells are structural and functional unit of life, obviously, because each and every cell has their own functions, shapes, structure. Now, all organisms are made up of the cells. All cells arises from a pre-existing cells only. Okay, so without any existing of the before cells, they will not be developed. There should be some existence. Is it? For example, we are existed or we have taken birth from our parents. It means that we have got some cells, genetic materials, all this from our parent. Is it like this? That is a pre-existing ones, or you can call as ancestors also. Now, the next part, number of cells. What is the relation of the number of cells here? See, as I told you, our body required so many cells to build our body or the different systems which are present inside our body. But what about in case of the single cells or the microorganisms? Those are actually made up of only one cell. According to that, there are some important points about the number of cells. So what they are? The classification of organisms based on the number of cells, like unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. So according to the number of cells, we have just, or the scientists have classified that the organisms are classified on the basis of how many numbers of cells they used to be consist. If the cells are infinite, it means if the cells are in the many numbers, like maybe trillion, billion, or that may be in lots of number, is it? Those are considered as a multicellular organism. If instead of consisting so many or infinite numbers of the cells, if they made up of by only a single cell, it means that those organisms are known as a unicellular or single cellular organisms. According to that only they were classified like this. Now, which are the unicellular type of organisms in the nature which exist on the earth? See, the unicellular means means only single, means unique. Okay. Next, the single cells performs the basic functions that are characteristic of organisms. So what they actually do? They used to perform the all functions of that microorganisms which is required for their body. Just as I told you, a single cell can perform all the life processes of themselves. Is it? Now, that's why it's named as a single cell performs all the basic functions, means all life processes can be carried out in that microorganisms with the help of only single cell. Next, which are they? See, amoeba, chlamydomonas. So these are the actually examples of unicellular. Amoeba, you have learned about the amoeba in the microorganisms friends or foe. Is it? So this is a shapeless which can available anywhere, present or found, and it does not consisting any mouth, any anus or any of the body parts. Is it is a shapeless and consisting only plasma membrane. What they are, they will see in details. So this much is about the amoeba. So it is made up of only single cells. Along with that, the chlamydomonas, it is also one microorganisms which is mostly found in the tangent or the watery places. Okay, it is consisting of some chloroplast and the hair-like structure, that is a flagella on their head, which helps for their locomotion, and the chloroplast helps in the synthesis of their own food material. That's why they used to appear as a green in color. Now, where you can find the chlamydomonas? The algae. These are actually the class of algae. They can found on the surface or the upper layer of the any type of a pond, stagnant water. Now, next example, that is the paramecium. What is the function of paramecium or how it looks? It looks like a slipper. You can see in the image, it looks like a slipper and it is found in the fresh or stagnant water. Why it is called as a slipper? Because it looks like a slipper. Now, next is that the bacteria. The bacteria are in number of names, means they have been named or classified on the basis of their shapes. The bacteria is consisting of various shapes. So for example, like coccus, staphylococcus, like for example, or you can say bacillus shape, spindle like shape, and there are the other shapes, okay, which are actually found and classified according to which type of a disease they used to be caused and how they look. So these are actually the single type of cells. Even if they having a very number of cells shapes, then also they are a single type of cells. Next part is that multicellular organisms. Multi means, just I have told you, consisting of many cells in them. For example, like us. So which type of cells, for example, like us and other living organism consist? See, there is a division of labor in multicellular organisms. Division of labor means each and every cell which are present in our body, those are having different functions. How? See, according to the examples you can understand how they work. The first image you can see, this is a nerve cell. Nerve cells means these are present in our brains. So what it do? It is helps in conducting our signals and taking a decision. Now, second is blood cells. You know about the blood cells. There are the different types of the blood cells in our body. Is it? Next, bone cells. Those are also varies from bone to bone. Is it? Next, types of the muscles. Muscle cells also consisting of number of different types of the cells according to their shapes and size. They were classified. Next, another is the fat cells. Fat cells just look like as a globular or oval shaped. Okay. Now the blood cells also consisting of different shapes. Okay, so those we will see in details, but first of all you just keep in mind that multicellular organism consisting of these many types of the cells in our body. So those are like this: nerve cells, blood cells, muscle cells, different types or the different cells, and fat cells, bone cells. All these are the some examples for the multicellular organisms. So by combining all these things, a living being can be produced. So this was about our today's session. What is meant by the cell, their discovery, theory, on what basis they were classified as a unicellular and multicellular, we have seen in simply their examples with their some characteristics, and in case of multicellular also we have seen where they actually found. In the next session we will see their different shapes that may be present in small living organisms or big living organisms like us, and the plants that may be animals. So for any doubts and difficulties you can ask me anytime. Till then, thank you.